So, you want to be a screenwriter, huh? Well, what should you do? To begin with, you should become a plumber. So, you take your plumbing course, you learn what to do, and then you go out and get a job with a senior plumber, and they teach you how to apply what you've learned to the real world. The tap leaks, or the tap doesn't leak, doesn't work. Screenwriting's harder, but you've got to do the same thing. At the beginning, you need to find out how to do what you want to do. So how do you do that? You do it by doing a course. I did a Michael Haig course a long time ago, and we studied a script called Speed, which was the Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock starring film, written by Graham Yost, and that was a really good script that worked well in a very specific genre with some bankable stars. So you should do a course, read lots of books. I mean, this is obvious stuff. The thing about these books I have found by looking at, say, John Truby's Anatomy of a Story, is that they are not immediately easy to understand, and to some degree they need to be interpreted. That's something I can help you with. As a for instance, John Truby talks about a designing principle. I'd have to say I had to read that a few times before clocking, what that is. What a designing principle is just the design of the film. Like Star Wars has a sci-fi design, but you could apply that story to other things. So if we think in terms of cars, you design a car to work in a certain way, to go very fast or to go off-road and whatever. But the basics will all be there, the engine and the power source and the way you apply it to the road and how you control it. So a designing principle is really just the design of your story. And stories can be applied to different designing principles, but it's complicated. I think the thing about, as I've said, those books, Anatomy of a Story, the Robert McKee one, and all the others, Sid Field, is that you're a brand new screenwriter and you think, okay, so I read all this stuff and I don't know how to apply it to what I'm doing because it's so complicated. There's so much stuff to remember that I can't do this. I can't apply this to what I'm doing. That's something I can help you with, just to interpret all that stuff. So you've done your plumbing course, and now you want to put what you've learned into action. I mean, the main thing to do is just to read gazillions of screenplays that have been turned into successful films, or films that are well known, renowned, like Chinatown. Everybody admires that screenplay. And then write down what it is that these screenplays all have in common. What do they do well? And apply that to what you do. And the only way to apply it to what you do really well is practice. So I think a rule of thumb might be read 100 screenplays, write 10. I have to say, I think the first 10 screenplays I wrote were all about learning. The next 10 were all about putting what I learned into practice. And by that stage, things should become really instinctive, so you just don't even have to think about anything really. It just happens, and if not, maybe this isn't something you should be doing. So do a course, read lots of screenplays, start writing, and then submit your writing to people, obviously friends and colleagues, but specifically get script coverage and act on what the reader recommends. I mean, some of it will hurt. It's tough, but you got to be able to handle that pain. It's like physiotherapy. You know, if it doesn't hurt, it isn't doing any good. But you will, if you can learn from that pain, you have a good chance of moving on. So read a lot, put it into practice, get loads of feedback from people like me, who will be tediously honest about stuff, and it may seem a little tough to handle, but that's where the real goodies are in, what did I do wrong? Because at the beginning, I mean, my first scripts were just rubbish, and I had a lot of learning to do. So that's it, really. I think that's a way to get going as a screenwriter, is to be a blotting paper. Just soak stuff up, listen, and apply. All right, more later.